Today's cooking lesson is Jamie Oliver's crumpets. So here's the crumpet mixture, which is a lot. Like, that's a big bowl. So I don't really know how many he made. Oh yeah, it says 12 crumpets, but I'm not sure about that. I think we're going to get a lot more than 12 crumpets out of that. And here is the olive oil I made. I never did a video on it, but I actually made this oil from the trees using my KitchenAid and yeah, the stove. So it looks like pretty good olive oil. There's a bit of crap down the bottom because I don't have any coffee filters or anything, so I'm just going to use that to grease my rings here. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but anyway, I'm going to take these off because you can right now. I can see better what's going on. Oops. See if they're cooking a little bit too much. I need to turn it down a bit. Never having cooked them before. They look pretty good though. Yeah, they're a bit cooked too much, so turn the pan down. Yeah, so I'm going to be putting these in the freezer, I think. It's like they've got, they don't look right on the front as a normal crumpet. This one does. So maybe I didn't quite cook them long enough. Turned them down a little bit more and it's still not quite how it should be on the top, and it was already burnt on the bottom. So I don't like the way it seals the top of them, like an omelette if you like. So I'm waiting until they're fully bubbled out and see what happens. It says to cook them for 5 minutes, and that seems like a long time, so I've turned it right down. I think that's a better temperature. It's like quite low, really low. So now I'm going to give them a tip. Quite burnt on the bottom compared to these, but we'll see. It says to cook them for a minute, but I'm not sure about that. Not quite like a real crumpet. So the secret to a good crumpet is not to cook it too quickly, right? So you can get this by doing it medium-high, like they said, or you can get it like this, where you can see the bubbles on the top. If you do cook it on really low for 5 minutes, and you get the really crunchy bottom. Oops, don't know if you could hear that. It's really crunchy on the bottom. The golden colour that you get, and you get the nice bubbles on the top. So that's it. So I've taken it right down to low, like really, really low, and I just let that cook for 5 minutes. I guess it depends on the cookware that you use, but I could not cook that on medium-high like Jamie Oliver's done. There's no way. Now these only were cooked for about 30 seconds on the other side. They could be a little bit more browner, but because I'm storing these to toast them later, I've taken them off a little bit early, which is how you get them in the shops anyway. So that means that the holes come through better, and it's not that eggy top that you get there. See, that looks like an omelette, a pikelet, which is what a crumpet is anyway. It's a cross between something and a pikelet. But you can see how, and don't overfill your egg rings. Mind you, this mixture is supposed to make 12. I think we're going to get more than 12, but don't overfill your egg rings. But fill them, fill them to the top, and just let them cook really slowly until all of that liquid is now bubble, like around the side here. You don't want to flip it like a pikelet. I flicked it like a pikelet before. With a pikelet, when it starts cooking, as soon as bubbles appear, you flip it, but not with crumpets. You have to wait till it's all bubbles. Well, that's what I reckon anyway. But see here, this one might have been overfilled because it's not bubbling up as much. So it's a lot of learning. I think if I had 2 sets of rings, I could grease the cold ring and then put the mixture in, and then this would just slip off. But because I'm re-greasing them when they're hot, they're not really greased, are they? Here I am back again. It's been cooking for a good 5 minutes. You can see here the bubbles are all coming up, but they're not on this one. So maybe I put too much in there. Maybe we just got to wait just that little bit longer. This was first, second, third, so we'll see how they go. But I think the smaller the better, not too high. And now that this is basically all bubbles and that's all gone, that cream liquid stuff, I'm going to turn that over and cook that. It says to cook it for a minute, so I'm going to cook it for exactly a minute. On my stove, it's in between low and high down the bottom there, which is not medium on my oven by any means. It's quite low, an area where it looks like pikelets, which sometimes you get on crumpets anyway, but this is good, this side, which isn't happening on here, so I'm not sure what's happening. I think they might have been just too high for the egg ring.